What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again here to bring you guys yet another One Piece card game video, and I'm expecting this video to be a long one because we now have the official full set release. We have full information about all the cards that are going to be in set 1, Romance Dawn, which is actually coming out on the 22nd of July, One Piece Day. It's going to be awesome. I do have a couple of the boxes coming. Hopefully they arrive somewhat soon. Really looking forward to this one. So in this video today, we're going to go through all the cards in the set, starting from the red color, go all the way through it, and give my thoughts and opinions on each card. Of course, it's hard to tell at the moment what is kind of like meta, because we obviously the card game isn't really out, only the starter decks are out, so it's going to take a little bit of time for the meta to really develop. But I guess, you know, starting from like set 2, it's going to be interesting to see how, you know, that will change the meta and formulate as things progress. And of course, as these cards come out, I definitely want to, you know, play some games with these cards and see how it's all about. But without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get into the set release. So I'll leave a link to all of this down below in the video description so you guys can check it out for yourself. But another thing is that the alternate art cards are not on this set list webpage. We don't know how many alternate art cards are in the set, but I think it's in the range of like probably close to 20 alt art cards. It's gonna be kind of crazy, but let's go ahead and start talking about each of these cards. So here we have the leader Zora. Now I believe all of the leader cards might have alternate arts in the set or as promo cards later on down the line, but let's go ahead and have a look. So Zora is a red leader for 5 life, and it looks like the solo colors have 5 life, whereas the dual colors have 4 life. That's what we've seen thus far. But his effect is when he has a Don, during your turn only, all of your characters gain plus 1000. I'm not too sure if this is going to see play. Maybe when the game first comes out, it might see a little bit of play in like a rookie rush style deck, like what was in Digimon, where they just had a lot of low cost cards with, you know, low-ish power levels, and you just have this guy as your leader, and you can just stack a bunch of low cost cards with some heavy power pretty quickly. So maybe in that kind of sense, but he doesn't seem too amazing. So next we have leader Law, who is a red-green, 4 life, 5000 power. It looks like all leaders thus far are 5000 power. Activate main ability. Once per turn, you have to rest 2 Dons for his ability. If you have 5 characters, you can return one of your characters to your hand, then play a 1 character with cost 5 or less from your hand that is a different color from the one you return. So if you play a red or a green, whatever you return, you have to play the opposite color of. I don't think this lore is very good. There may be some weird abilities, maybe if there's like on-play effects, but I don't know if on-play effects activate if you summon them via this ability, and whether, you know, have to pay the cost of a card's play, you know, cost to actually play the card in order to get the on-play effect. Don't think this guy's going to see a lot of play at the moment. I think the other one right here, I think this Luffy could see a little bit of play. Let's have a look. His 4 life as well, 5000 power. Main ability, once per turn, you rest 4 Don, pretty expensive. Set one of your Supernova or Straw Hat character cards with cost 5 or less to active, and they gain 1000 power. See, I think this is probably going to see a little bit more play compared to Law, and I believe this is the Luffy from the demo deck that they've been giving out recently, so he seems okay, but nothing too broken. I think the starter deck Luffy probably will see a little bit more play than this. Not too sure if the dual leaders are that good right now, but again, we'll have to wait and see how the meta evolves. Next we have Usopp. He's just a rarity, by the way. You can see he's got a little R and a little R in the top here, so he's only going to be a rare, so should be relatively easy to get. But Usopp is a 2-drop for 3k, and when he has a Don during your turn, once per turn, you can draw a card when your opponent activates an event. So I guess if your opponent does like a counter or something like that, or activates an event card as a counter, that could be interesting. Not too sure if he's going to see play, but seems alright. Next we have Uta. So Uta seeing another card, which is cool. Of course, she's going to be getting her own card in the movie or the film starter deck. She is also a rare, and she is a 4 cost for 4k, and on play, add a red card other than Uta with a cost of 3 or less from your trash to your hand. See, this is a decent like Monster Reborn kind of effect, and you know, this is a kind of card you can run with the dual leader Law to like on play it to potentially get her effect. But again, I don't know if her on play effect works if you use Law's ability to bounce a card to then play a different card. Not too sure if that works. If it does work that way, then this could be kind of interesting. If you have like red and green versions of cards that can on play activate all these abilities, could be kind of interesting. But either way, that's Uta. Next we have Uncommon, and this artwork is great, by the way, for Otama. 1 cost for 0 power. 2000 counter, by the way, is nothing to scoff at. On play, give one of your opponent's characters minus 2000 power during the turn. I'm not too sure how good minus power cards are going to be in the One Piece card game initially. Maybe there's going to be a strategy involving them, like, you know, if you have like an on-play ability or some effect that you can activate that automatically KOs a card that has like minus power compared to their base power, that could be kind of interesting if that was a strategy. But Orotama seems okay. The 2000 counter is definitely the best component of this unit, I think. Here we have the Caribou, who's a common, 3 cost for 4000 power, 1k counter. On KO one of your opponent's characters with 4000 power or less. So when he dies, he can KO something else with 4000 power or less. I think this is fine, but again, your opponent can just choose not to KO it, and plus it's not super strong. I mean, 3 drop for 4k is about right. I don't think this guy is going to see a lot of play, but at least the artwork's pretty cool. Next, we've got Cavendish, who is a common. Great artwork for a common, though, I must say. 4 drop for 5k is a bit expensive, but his ability, on play, you can add 1 card from your life area to your hand, and this character gains rush during that turn. So you lose a life, but if you do that, then he can rush. He can attack the turn you play it. I don't think it's that good. For the cost that you have to pay to get it, and for the ability that you get out of it, I don't see it being that good. Maybe a good late game card, potentially, if you're going for that win, but I'm not really the biggest fan of the Cavendish. Maybe I could be proven wrong. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe in the Zoro deck, as you can rush and make him gain 1000 power really quickly, could see some play. Next, we've got Carrot, who is a common, 2 drop for 3k with 1k power with the counter, and it doesn't have any effect, but it has a trigger, so when it's played from the life area, or when you draw it from the life area, you automatically play it. I don't know how good this Carrot's going to be. If I had to preemptively say, I don't think this Carrot's going to be that useful. Maybe you play like 1 random copy, but then again, if you want to see the most use out of it, you probably want multiple copies of it, so it's a higher chance to be in your life area. But again, I don't know how good this will be. Maybe in the Zoro deck, if you want to run like a rookie rush kind of stint. But let's have a look at Kamachio, who's a common, 1 drop for 3k. That's pretty good. 1k counter, no effect. The cost curve is good, but obviously having no effect is kind of bad, but having the 1k counter is pretty decent. And here we have Gordon, who is also from the film Red, and he's an uncommon, 2 drop for 3k and 2k counter, so that's actually pretty respectable. But on play, you may place 1 card from your hand at the bottom of your deck, then draw a card, so good hand filtering kind of effect. Yeah, this seems okay. I don't see a problem with this card at all. I think this card could probably see play in red decks. Next, we've got Sai, who is a common as well. 2 drop for 4k, 1k counter, no effect. The cost curve is good, and it has a counter on it. He seems fine. He seems pretty respectable. Nothing too crazy, but I don't know if the vanillas are going to see a lot of play initially, because having no effect is obviously not that good. But I think the cost curve is good, and considering the cost curve is actually pretty decent, might be used in that Zoro deck, but we'll have to wait and see. Here we got a Straw Hat. He's a rare, Sanji. 2 drop for 3k with a 2k counter is pretty good. Main ability, once per turn, you can add a card from your life area to your hand, and this character gains 2000 power during the turn. Then, give this character 2 Rested Dawn cards. Again, you have to lose a life, so it's pretty risky, but you obviously use 2 Dawn to play him, and then you got his ability, and then when you do his ability, the 2 Rested Dawn that you use to activate, to summon him, you can give it to him, but then again, he doesn't have Rush, so, you know, it is what it is. Here we have Jinbei, uncommon, 4 drop for 5k, so pretty expensive. He's a blocker, though, and when he has a Dawn and he blocks, play a red card with cost 2 or less from your hand. So again, that could have some on-play effects. This could be interesting. I think Jinbei block is okay. 4 drop is a little expensive, but nothing really too insane because he is a blocker at the end of the day. Tony Chopper, uncommon, 3 drop for 4k, 1k counter. When he has a Dawn and he attacks, you can trash 1 card from your hand and add a Straw Hat character other than himself with a cost of 4 or less from your trash to your hand. Good filtering from the trash, filter from the graveyard. Seems fine. I guess if you're running mono Straw Hat deck, then of course you'd probably want to run a Chopper, but he seems fine. He's an uncommon, so it is what it is. Here we have Nami. So she's a rare, and this is a Nami that actually has an alt art. This card, I think, is a staple if you're running a Straw Hat deck. So 1 cost for 2k, obviously the power level doesn't matter too much. 1k counter is a nice addition too. But on play, you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal a Straw Hat character card other than Nami, add it to your hand, and place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. This is really good. Just being able to essentially search your deck for a Straw Hat card. Obviously, it's not totally searching your deck. Being able to filter the top 5 cards for a Straw Hat, this character is fantastic. It is on play as well, so this could work with that red-green Law Leader card, if you're able to use that in some fashion. I think this Nami is definitely a staple in Straw Hat decks. Nico Robin, a rare this time. She's a 3 drop for 4k, 1k counter. 1 Don, and when she attacks with 1 Don, KO one of your opponent's characters with 3000 power or less. Really good way to get around really pesky characters. I know that, you know, with green, with Jewelry Bonnie, or even with red, like opposing red decks with Namis, being able to instantly KO them, or any of those really low cost blockers, being able to just play and instantly KO, like Chopper, for example, from the starter deck. Seems fine. Don't know if it's going to see play, but I guess if you're running a Straw Hat deck, it's not a terrible option. Here we have Hydrogen, common, 4 drop for 6k. I mean, 6k power level is very good, being able to just topple over leaders, unless if they've got really good counters. And then you've got the 1k counter himself on him. No effect, of course. I think Hydrogen's decent. Artwork's pretty cool. Here we have Barter. He's a common, 2 drop for 2k, so not too great, but also 1k counter. He's a blocker once again, so, you know, low-cost blockers are okay. 2 Don, giving to him. During your opponent's turn, when he has 2 Don, he gains 3000 power. So he can become a 5000 blocker, who is fine. I think it's fine. He doesn't have like any other ability. It is just a blocker at the end of the day. If you have extra Don to spare, you can put it on him to make him stronger. He's fine. I don't think he's that good. He's fine though. Hyogoro, who's a common, 2 drop for 3k, 1k counter. Activate main ability. You can rest this character. Your leader or one of your characters gets 2000 power during the turn. Again, just kind of fine. Like, it's not really game breaking, but it's just a nice way to get some more power levels. This will probably synergize well with the starter deck Luffy. Either way. Next we have Uncommon Frankie. He's a 3 drop for 4k. No counters, but when he has 1 Don, this character can attack your opponent's active characters. Alright, this is actually kind of interesting. I think you could probably stack this in a certain way where you can like stack him with a lot of Don and just topple over a really, really annoying pesky card that your opponent has. Yeah, I think Frankie's fine. He's fine. Next we got Brook, uncommon, 4 drop for 5k with a 1k counter, 1 Don. When he attacks, give up to 2 of your opponent's characters minus 2000 power for the turn. Again, this is very similar to one of the other cards earlier. I don't know how good minus power is going to be right now, but I guess if there is, you know, synergy with other cards that are able to like instantly KO characters that have minus base power, this Brook would be very, very good for decks like that. Alright, we've got Marco. He's a common, 3 drop for 5k with a 1k counter with no effect. That's still decent cost curve, and he has a counter as well, you know, nothing too crazy there. Next we got the first SR of the video. So SR Monkey D Luffy, 2 drop for 3k with a 1k counter. When he has 2 Don, this character cannot be KO'd by other strike attribute characters. So you can see that in the corner next to his power, that is his attribute. So he's saying that, you know, when he has 2 Don, he cannot be KO'd by other characters with that same attribute. So that's a little niche. Not too sure how good that'll be right now, considering the meta. But his main ability, once per turn, you can give this character 2 rested Don cards. That's actually kind of nice, the fact that, you know, you can play him and then just add the rested Don that you used to play him onto himself to activate his main ability so he cannot be KO'd. There's probably a lot of cool uses for that. So SR Luffy seems okay. I guess you would probably still maybe run him in a deck, but I don't know. It seems a little niche for my liking. I mean, 2 costs for 3k is a little risky at the end of the day, so I'm not too sure about Luffy, but at least he has an ability to give rested Don to himself, so you can make him kind of power up, you know, just for free, essentially. Either way, next we've got the next SR, and I believe all the SRs, at least maybe all the SRs have alternate arts. Maybe that's how they're doing it. Either way, Zora is the next one, who is also SR. He's a 3 drop for 5k, so good cost curve. He has no counter, and his effect is just rush. So you play him 3 drop, and he can attack straight away. I think he's pretty good. This Zora is actually very, very nice to play, actually. Nothing really too crazy about this one. Pretty bare bones ability, but it seems pretty good. Next, we have an event card. So moving on to the event cards, it's a rare. We have the Red Hawk. 2 cost to play, and it is a counter. Your leader or one of your characters gains plus 4,000 during the battle. Then KO one of your opponent's characters with cost 4,000 power or less. I think this is very good. I think this is probably a staple that you would run in your Straw Hat based deck. Even just any red deck, honestly, because it is not focused to any Straw Hats. It's just any red deck you can use it in. It also has a trigger, so when it's played from the life, give your opponent's leader or one of their characters minus 10,000 power during the turn. This could be kind of useful, actually, but I think that, you know, when you're out of Don, you'd probably activate the trigger effect, but then again, you can kind of keep it for maybe the following turn, save some Don, and then get an instant KO on something. This is pretty good. I think that Red Hawk is actually a really, really strong event card. We've got Round Table. It's a common. It's a 4 cost to play, and its main ability, so you activate it during your turn only, give one of your opponent's characters minus 10,000. I mean, for 4 cost, I think this card is terrible, in all honesty. I don't see this card being used. I mean, I could be wrong here, but this doesn't seem very good. Next, we have a common, Green Star Rafflesia, and it is a counter. Give your leader or one of your characters, give your opponent's leader or one of their characters minus 2,000 power. So debuffing your opponent's cards. Trigger, activate this card's counter effect, so you can activate it straight away. Okay, seems decent. It is only a 1 cost, so it's not really that bad. Being able to essentially win a battle off of this is okay. I don't mind this. This is fine. Next, we have Radical Beam, which is uncommon. And it says counter, your leader or one of your characters gains plus 2,000. If you have 2 or less live cards, it gains an additional 2,000. So for a 1 cost to potentially get up to 4,000 power from it, that's actually pretty good for a counter. And its trigger effect, your leader or your character you choose gets 1,000 power. I don't know if you'll use this in a red deck. It is a little situational. It's still 2,000 power at the end of the day for a 1 cost. Nothing really too crazy. And, you know, considering it's a 1 cost for a potential 4K upside, to just block out like heavy hits from your opponent, especially late game, this could be very, very good. So next we have a big one right here. This is a really good card. So it's an uncommon, and this is essentially the 3-day 2-year Straw Hat card. It costs 1 to play. You activate it during your turn. Main ability, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal a Straw Hat character card, add it to your hand, put the rest of it at your bottom. Essentially the exact same as the Nami card that we looked at way earlier. So if you're running a Straw Hat based deck, this is an instant max playset you want in your deck. This card is amazing. Definitely run it. And even the trigger effect, activate the main effect. So if your opponent attacks your life and this is going to be flipped over, you instantly get to search for a Straw Hat card, which is so good. So now we're moving on to the green cards, and here we have one of the leaders for the green, which is Kozuki Odin. So it looks like Odin is receiving a card in the set, and I assume he's probably going to have an alt art too. It's going to look amazing, but let's have a look and see what he does. So he's a 1 type leader. He's only for green, so he's got 5 life, 5k power. Main ability, once per turn, you can trash a Land of Wano type card from your hand and set 2 of your Don cards as active. So seems okay. I guess that the whole focus around this deck would be to use a bunch of Don and then use the leader skill to set it back to active to use other abilities. I guess it could have some pretty interesting synergies. We'll have to wait and see what the rest of the set's like. Here we got Ashura Doji, who is a Land of Wano character. He's got a 3-drop for 4k, 1k counter. When he has a Don, if your opponent has 2 or more rested characters, he gains 2,000 power. I'm not too sure how good this is going to be. It has to have some synergies with some other characters for it to actually be good, because currently it doesn't seem super amazing. Very niche, so we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, we've got Izo. So Izo is an uncommon and another Land of Wano character. 3-drop for 3k, so the cost curve's a little funky, but 2k counter. You gotta respect that. On play, rest an opponent's character with a cost of 4 or less. Obviously, great synergies with Ashura Doji there. That's actually kind of cool. This is an interesting kind of deck so far. So we got Inu Adachi, Dogstorm, who is a 3-drop for 4k, 1k counter. When he has 2 Don and he attacks, set one of your Dons as active. That's not bad either. Not too shabby, I suppose. You can go ahead and, again, just start cycling some of your Don, especially this with Odin's effect. You can get up to 3 Don as active. Actually, kind of cool, actually. Not bad. But the thing is you got to remember that Odin, in order to activate his ability, you need to trash a Land of Wano character card from your hand. So you're getting cards out of your hand to reset your Don as active. So there need to be other cards in this deck that allow you to, like, draw cards. Otherwise, this deck was not going to be good. Here we have Okiku, who is a rare. 3-drop for 5k, so good cost curve. And we got Don 1, when you attack once per turn, rest one of your opponent's character cards with cost 5 or less. So this plus Izo and Ashura Doji, pretty good synergy there actually, being able to make Ashura Doji like a 6k card. But one thing that we've seen thus far is that none of these cards have rush, so, you know, it is a little bit slower, but I can see where this deck is kind of going. I really want to see a draw card though, so we've got a common Otsuru, 1-drop for 3k, 1k counter with no abilities. Again, pretty typical stuff. Kawamatsu's a common, great artwork, 2-drop for 3k, 1k counter, and its trigger effect, you can automatically play it. That's not bad, because during your opponent's turn, you can play it, and then when it comes back to you, this guy's ready to attack. So this could have some synergy. He doesn't have an ability either, so you could use it as like discard fodder, I suppose, with Odin's effect. I think Kawamatsu probably has a place, especially because the Land of Wano, there's probably not a lot of them that are green, so you probably have to use as many as you can, right? We've got Kanjuro, who is a common, 2-drop for 3k with a 1k counter. Don times 1, when you attack, KO one of your opponent's rested characters with a cost 2 or less. Again, pretty good synergy with the rest of the other characters. And when he dies, your opponent chooses 1 card from your hand and trash that card. So that's risky, because that's really annoying, because his effect is when he attacks, so he's going to be rested. So that means your opponent can just go ahead and then KO the card, you know, on the following turn. He doesn't have a lot of power either, so I don't actually like Conjurer that much. I really don't like this card, to be honest. If this was on KO, you can discard a card from your opponent's hand, this guy would be busted. But because of that, no, not really that good. So now we've got Killer. So Killer is an uncommon, great artwork by the way. 2-drop for 2k, 1k counter, blocker, and when he has a Don and he blocks, if you have 3 or more characters, you can draw a card. Okay, I like it. This is pretty good. I mean, you can basically force this to activate because it's a blocker, right? So you can make sure that this guy always get this ability to activate. I like it. I think this card's actually pretty good. I think if you're running a Kid deck or a Supernova deck and it's green, you probably would be running Killer. He seems pretty good. And here we have Kinemon. So he's an SR, so he probably has an alt art, and it's a 6-drop for 6k. So he's pretty expensive. No counters, but on play, if your leader is Odin, you can play an Akazaya 9 character card that costs 3 or less from your hand directly. That's pretty good. And when he has a Don and he attacks once per turn, set one of your Akazaya 9 character cards with cost 3 or less as active. Yeah, that's pretty good. A lot of them have been three drops so far. So yeah, I think Kinemon's definitely a character you want to see early game for sure in your Akazaya 9 deck, being able to just play him. It is 6 cost, so it is expensive, but you can automatically play another one from your hand for free. So it's worth it, honestly. This is definitely a card you want to see in the early game to get him on play as soon as you possibly can to start flooding the field with your cards. I think this guy is pretty good. And next we got a rare Kazuki Momonosuke. It's a 1-drop for no power, but it has a counter, and its main ability, you have to rest a Don, but it says you can do that. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal a Land of Wano character, add it to your hand. Yep, absolute staple in this deck. You want to be filtering and getting as many Land of Wano cards in your hand as possible so you can activate Odin's ability or just play them on the field. This character, you definitely want to play set in the, you know, Odin deck for sure. Komurasaki, who's an uncommon, 1-drop for 0 power, 1k counter. On play, you have to rest 3 Don. So ultimately, you know, you're going to pay 4 Don for its ability. If your leader is Odin, set one of your Land of Wano characters with cost 3 or less as active. Oh, to be honest, that's a pretty expensive effect to play. Because, you know, you can play it and you'll get no ability out of it if you don't have the Don that is sufficient for this. So I guess, to be honest, you kind of like already want an established board, and this is like a pretty good late game card. I don't think I'm a big fan of this Komurasaki card, unfortunately, but I guess there's probably going to be some niche usages with this card for sure. Shinobu, common, 3-drop for 5k with a 1k counter. Yeah, pretty typical stuff. You probably still run it though, because it's got a good cost curve, good base power. It's got a counter at the end of the day. It seems decent. We got Shachi, who is a common and is a Heart Pirates character, so not Supernova, only for the Heart Pirates, but 3-drop for 4k. It's got a 1k counter and it's a blocker, and on play, if you do not have Penguin, you can play Penguin from your hand. So we already know Penguin is in the set as well, and I think both of them are blockers. So I think if you're running a Heart Pirates deck, and I know a lot of people are probably going to run a Trafalgar Law deck in some capacity, then yeah, this is a really, really nice addition. Just to a green deck as well, being able to have some blockers is really, really nice. Here's John Bart, another Heart Pirates character, 4-drop for 6k with a 1k counter. Yeah, good cost curve. It's got a counter as well. You love to see it. Denjiro, another Land of Wano character, 5-drop for 7k power with no counters, but on attack, when he has a Don, if your leader is Odin, set 2 of your Don as active. Yeah, this is pretty good. Especially if you can have the characters, like I guess with Komurasaki, as we said, setting one of your characters back to active. You can have this guy attack multiple times per turn and being able to set all these Don back as active. Oh yeah, okay, I can see how this can kind of work. Actually kind of interesting. I actually kind of dig it. It's not bad at all. And here we have an SR, Trafalgar Law, who is a 5-drop for 6k, but is a blocker. And on play, you can return a character card to your hand and then play 1 character card with cost 3 or less from your hand. Okie dokie, not too bad, I suppose. I guess maybe, you know, you could use its effect where on play, you can like return Sachi to your hand if you like drew Penguin for the turn or something. And then like you can play like Penguin and then play Sachi for free or something like that. I don't know. I guess there could be like some interesting uses for this, but it's a 6k blocker, which is really annoying to deal with. So not bad, I suppose. Here we have Neko Mamashi, who is a common, 2-drop for 3k, 1k counter, and on play, rest one of your opponent's character cards with a cost of 3 or less. I mean, it's pretty basic stuff. You probably still run it if you're running a Land of Wano or Akazaya 9 type deck, but I don't think it's like super crazy. And you have Beppo, who is a rare, and he is a 4-drop for 4k, 2k counter, so 2k counter is very important. Don 1, when he attacks, you can play a Heart Pirates type card other than Beppo with a cost 4 or less from your hand. I like it. I think that if you are running a Heart Pirates based deck, even a Supernova deck to a certain extent, because you probably are still running, you know, some of the Heart Pirates in a green deck, then, you know, this will probably see play. And here's Penguin, which is essentially the same. It's a 3-drop for 2k, so it's a little bit weaker, I think, with a 1k counter. Blocker on play. If you don't have Sachi, you can play it from your hand. So they work together. You definitely want both of them. If you're running one, you want the other for sure. And they're only common, so they should be very easy to get your hands on. Another SR, we have Eustace Captain Kidd, who is an 8-drop for 8k. That's expensive, but let's see what he does. 1 Don on your opponent's turn. If this character is rested, your opponent cannot attack any other character except itself. If it's rested, they have to attack him. That's interesting, especially because he's got 8k power. And then especially if they go to attack and you just go, boom, I'm going to have a counter. Or you can just continuously buff this guy and he's kind of like a wall. But I mean, of course, 8k is very difficult to get over. And the 8-drop is expensive. Main ability, once per turn, you can rest this character, play a character card that costs 3 or less from your hand. That's cool, you know, because if this guy costs 8 to play, you only have a maximum of 10 Dons. So you can play something with cost of 3, which exceeds the max cost. So yeah, he seems interesting. I think this kid's actually not bad. He could probably see some play. Obviously, it's very expensive, but I think he could probably see some play just because of how difficult he is to get over. If you have the sufficient ways to protect him as well, you can really just wall up with this guy. Here we got Rizo, so another Land of Wino character, uncommon, 3-drop for 4k with a 1k counter. When he attacks once per turn, if you have 2 or more rested characters, you can draw 1 card. That's actually not bad. It is still requiring you to, you know, have, the amount of sufficient Don in order to play him. It does cost 3 to play. But, you know, if you've done a bunch of attacking, I mean, it seems fine. It does say 2 or more rested characters, which doesn't include your leader. So you do have to take that into consideration. So I think it's still fine because you want to be drawing cards with this deck anyway because you are using Odin's ability. So I can understand it. It seems decent. Here you have Wire, which is a pretty typical 2-drop for 4k with a 1k counter. Again, seems kind of decent. You've got X-Drake, who's a rare, 5-drop for 6k with a 1k counter. On play, you can KO one of your opponent's rested characters with a cost 4 or less. Yeah, okay, not bad, because I know the green starter deck has a couple of cards that can automatically rest your opponent's cards, so you can just then drop this on top of it to instantly KO them, but it is only of cost 4 or less. But it's still, with a 6k power, that's kind of annoying to deal with for the opponent, so green's looking pretty strong, not gonna lie. You can be my Samurai with common event card for the Land of Wino deck, I assume. Main, you can rest 2 of your characters and draw 2 cards. Okie dokie. That's very good for a 1 cost. So I guess, yeah, okay, this is pretty good. Yeah, okay, I can see how this kind of works because if you play all your character cards, you can then use a Don, you can rest 2 of them, and then draw 2 cards, and then discard 1 card through Odin's ability to get some Don back. You could have Rizo to just draw you a card on play. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I think you would probably still want to run this card because drawing cards is very important in that deck. Not bad at all. Demon Face, uncommon. Main, KO 2 of your opponent's rested cards with a cost of 5 or less. Okay, seems alright. Not too bad. Cost 5 or less is not too bad at all. A lot of cards don't cost that much. I mean, especially like the multiple copies of in a deck. I think this has a lot of usage, but it's a 6-drop, which is most of your turn. It's like half of your turn is dedicated to KOing 2 of your opponent's cards. But I guess if they have problem cards, being able to instantly KO them is not bad. Paradise Waterfall, uncommon. So it is a counter. Your leader or one of your characters gains 2,000 power and set one of your characters as active. A really good way to protect some of your key cards. If you've attacked with them and you know your opponent's going to go for them, you can immediately set them back to active so that your opponent can't attack them. It's actually not bad at all. And then the trigger is KO a rested character with cost 4 or less on your opponent's side of the field. I think it's actually not bad. This is probably another card that you would run in your Kozuki Odin deck. I mean, again, you can use this outside of the Kozuki Odin deck. It's not too bad. And then you got Punk Gibson. It's a rare counter. Your leader or one of your characters gains 4,000 power, then rest one of your opponent's character cards with a cost 4 or less. For a 2-drop, I think it's also pretty decent, and it's on automatic rest as well on the trigger. So I think that this card's also pretty good. Green's just so nice. So Baben is a 3-drop event card. You can trash a Land of Wino card from your hand, set one of your Land of Wino character cards with cost 3 or less as active. I don't like this card. 3 drop is a little expensive for what you get out of it, I think. You know, trashing a card from your hand and you get 1 active. If this was set 2 as active, up to 2 as active, this card would be a lot better. But 3 drop for this, because not only are you paying 3 Don for this, but you're also minusing a card out of your hand. I wish it didn't have the minusing the Land of Wano card from your hand. That probably would have made this card a lot better. Not a fan of Beben. I think it's pretty bad. And that's it. So we're done for green. Green was definitely more impressive than red, but it is what it is. I think green looks super, super strong. So now we've got a leader Doflamingo here. So I hope he has an alt art too. This could be absolutely crazy. So he's only for 1 type. So he's got 5 life, 5k power. Don times 2, when he attacks, you can rest 1 Don and reveal a card from the top of your deck. And if it's a Warlord's card, you can, well, it's a Warlord's card with a character cost of 4 or less. You can play that card rested. So you give him 2 Don, he goes to 7k, and you attack, you rest another Don, so you have to dedicate 3 Don for his ability in total for the turn, but you can potentially stack your deck in a way where, I don't know if you can actually stack the deck, you probably can't, there's no cards that do that. This has potential. I still think Crocodile's effect to bounce cards or to trash cards, I can't remember exactly, the one from the starter deck. I think that ability probably is still really, really strong, but don't count this out. I think Dofi could see play. It's not bad, being able to flood the field. Brand new Kaido card as a leader. He's a red and, oh no, red. He's a blue and a purple lead, 4 life and 5k power. When he has 1 Don during your turn, once per your turn, when your opponent's character is KO'd, you can add a Don from your Don deck and set it as active. Alright, not bad. It does require you to KO one of your opponent's characters. So, again, a little niche. I don't think it really helps too much. I guess if you are running, you know, like the more purple based stuff, this would probably be good, because a lot of the purple cards have abilities that minus cards from your cost area back to your Don deck, and I think that you would probably want some ways to generate more Don. I think if you're running a purple deck, you would definitely run this Kaido over the starter deck Kaido, because the starter deck Kaido's ability is just bad in my opinion. Well, I guess it's not bad, but I just think that this card probably helps the deck succeed in what it tries to do a little bit better than what the starter deck one does. Obviously, 4 life is a huge downfall though, but not bad. Here we have another Crocodile, who is a blue-purple lead with 4 life. Don 1, when you activate an event card, you can draw a card if you have 4 less cards in your hand and haven't drawn a card using this effect this turn. I don't know why it's just not like, you know, once per turn, but either way. You can draw a card if you've got 4 or less cards in your hand. I guess this is also kind of good with purple in a way, because they also have some cards that can discard cards out of your hand. I guess for blue, it's not bad. I mean, he's fine. We have to just wait and see how the meta develops. This could be good. At the moment, it's hard to tell, but drawing cards is always useful. So anything that says draw cards, you got to pay attention to it, because it could be very, very broken. So we've got Arlong here. So he's a blue card. He's an uncommon. He is a 4-drop for 5k with a 1k counter. 1 Don, main ability, you can rest this character, choose 1 card from your opponent's hand, your opponent reveals that card. If it's an event card, place 1 card from your opponent's life area to the bottom of their deck. That's actually kind of cool. It is a 4-drop for 5k. 5k is good though. And you just have to give him 1 Don, and then you can use his main ability to rest himself. But at the end of the day, if you whiff with his ability, it's kind of a waste, but it's still 5k at the end of the day. I think there's potential here. I think he's a little funky, but there's potential with this, because you can really destroy your opponent with a card like this. This is kind of interesting. So we see Alvida. This card was actually revealed a long time ago, but now we finally have an ability for this character. So Alvida is a common, 2-drop for 3k with 2000 counters. So you got to respect the 2000 counters. When she has a Don and she attacks, you can trash 1 card from your hand, return 1 of your opponent's cards, character cards with cost 3 or less to their hand. Pretty good. It's a cost of 3 or less, which is actually not bad, and it's only when she attacks, so you can just like stack her with 2 and then attack their leader, or even if they go for a block or whatever, you still get this ability to activate so long as she has a Don. I think she's pretty good, to be honest. Then we have Virgo, who's a common, a 5-drop for 7k, expensive, 1k counter, but no effect. But I think stat sticks are still annoying in this game, at least right now, and he's a 5 cost, so he's a lot harder to KO with abilities that KO a lot of low cost effects, low cost characters, which having such a high cost on this character probably helps him out. So next is Don Creek, who's a common with a 4-drop for 6k with a 1k counter. Again, like relatively high cost but high power cards, still completely fine with me. Nothing wrong with this card at all. Here we have an SR Crocodile. Alright, let's check and see what he's all about. So he's a 7 cost for 7k with a 1k counter. He has Banish, so when he deals damage, it will trash the card automatically with no trigger. That's actually kind of nice. And Don 1, give blue event cards -1 cost. Whoa, that's actually kind of sick. I haven't even seen some of the blue event cards. Actually, wait, some of the ones from the starter deck are really good. Whoa, this Crocodile's not bad. I mean, he's expensive to play. We understand that. But, man, this card's sick. He hits hard, and he's got a really cool utility effect during your turn. I like this Crocodile a lot. He's super good. Gecko Mori, that artwork is crazy. So he's a rare, 4-drop for 5k with a 1k counter. During your turn, this character gains double attack if you have 5 or less cards in your hand. That's not bad. That's not bad either. So he just does 2 damage. He hits over 2 life cards. I like it. I think he's pretty decent too. Not bad at all. Caesar Clown, who's a rare, 4-drop for 5k with a 1k counter. When he dies, play 1 Smiley from your deck and then shuffle your deck. So I assume Smiley's coming up soon? We'll have to check him out. Whoa, Dracul Mihawk, SR. Dude, if this guy has an alt art, it's going to go absolutely nuts. So, Dracul Mihawk is a 9 cost for 9k. Very expensive. But, on play, place 1 character with a cost of 7 or less at the bottom of their owner's deck. That's real good. If your opponent has a really big boy in the field, you just play him. See you later, buddy. You're at the bottom of the deck. 7 cost or less, you're going to get rid of a majority of cards in the field at that point. It is only one of them, of course, but 9k power. Not a lot of characters are getting over this without heavy investment. Plus, you can apply counters on top of it to keep him safe. Yeah, I think this guy's pretty solid. Definitely a really good card towards the mid to late game. Pretty good. Here we have Jinbei, who is a rare, 4-drop for 2k, so he's pretty weak for the cost. On play, place a character with cost 3 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. Trigger, play this card. Ooh, the trigger effect's really good, but, you know, for the amount of cost you're putting into it, very, very low power level, but when you play it, you're kind of using him almost as like an event card in a way, because you're mainly playing it to get the on-play effect, to just counter something and blow it away. It goes to the bottom of the owner's deck too, doesn't go back to their hand, so they can't use it for a counter. They can't play it during their following turn. I kind of like it. It's not that bad, to be honest. I think Jinbei's pretty good still. And here is Smiley. So when Caesar dies, this gets played directly from your deck. So he's a 3-drop for 1k with a 1k counter. Don 1, during your turn, it gets 1,000 power for every card in your hand. Yeah, so this guy's basically Slifer the Sky Dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh, bro. Not bad. I guess it is dependent, again, on, you know, how heavy of a hand you currently have, but hypothetically, if you can play this and you got 5 cards in your hand, he goes to 7,000 power. It's not bad. I think this guy is actually pretty good. This could see some kind of play. How much was Caesar again? What was he at? He was a 4-drop for 5k. Yeah, I think it's not bad. It's not bad considering, you know, it's even by himself, it's just a 3-drop. It's not that bad. Here we have Don Quixote Doflamingo. That's a crazy artwork, by the way. Rare, 3-drop for 4k with a 1k counter. He's a blocker, and on play, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck. Place them on top or the bottom of your deck in any order. Actually, who was that? Wasn't there a leader before that we just looked at that was based on... Yeah, it was this Doflamingo, because when he attacks with 2 Don, you can rest a Don, reveal a card from the top of your deck, and if it's a Warlord's character card with 4 or less cost, you can play it automatically. So it synergizes well with the actual Doflamingo character card, as you can just stack the deck in a certain way. Interesting stuff. Very, very interesting. Bartholomew Kuma, 4-drop for 5k, rare, with a 1k counter. He's a blocker, and on play, you can play a Pacifista with cost 4 or less from your hand. Again, not bad, being able to swarm the field, and here's a Pacifista, 4-drop for 5k. You can have as many of this card in your deck as the rules permit. So you can have more than the playset of this card in your deck. Interesting. People are going to build Pacifista decks out of it. That's kind of nuts. And they're blockers. So they're the same, yeah, it's the same stats as Kuma, but Kuma has a counter. Alright, so when you play Kuma, you can automatically play that from your hand. That's interesting. That is very, very interesting. Here we have Bellamy, who's a common, 2-drop for 4k with a 1k counter. Good stat curve, I like it. Next is Perona. Dude, that artwork on Perona is absolutely stunning. It looks amazing. She's an uncommon, 1-drop for 2k with a 1k counter. Hopefully she's got a good effect. On play, look at top 5 cards in your deck and place them on top in any order. Alright, so if you're building Doflamingo, you want Perona. You want the character card Doflamingo as well. Okay, I can see how this is kind of building. Not bad. And Boa Hancock. Oh my god, I lost. Here we go. SR Boa Hancock. She's a 4-drop for 5k with a 1k counter. She's a blocker, and when she has a Don and she attacks or blocks, you can draw a card if you have 5 or less cards in your hand. Alright, not bad at all. So that's kind of nice, as you can use her offensively or you can use her defensively. So if your opponent goes to attack your leader, you can block with it and you can potentially draw off of it, or you know, even if you lose life, you get additional draws from your life pool, of course. But you know, being able to get more draws is obviously very useful. I kind of like it. This is not bad at all. Missile Sunday. Rare, 3-drop for 1k with a 1k counter. Again, another blocker. And if your leader has a Baroque Works type, you can add 1 event card from your trash to your hand. Woo! This is pretty good. Yeah, and considering she's only a 1k blocker, she's gonna die whenever she blocks. So you're able to just get a free event card from your trash. Yeah, I think this is good. I think this is actually very, very good. I don't mind this at all. Cycling stuff out of the trash is always neat. We got Miss Double Finger. God damn, man. She's a common, 3-drop for 4k with a 1k counter. On KO, you can draw 1 card. I don't know if she's going to see play. At least she gets to draw a card at the bare minimum. But I guess your opponent can just choose not to attack over it, I guess. But 4k, I wish it was 5k if this was a 5k, but like maybe make it like 4 costs for 5k with that ability. Definitely would have been good. Here we have Mocha. Okay, she's a 3-drop for 5k with a 1k counter, so pretty typical stuff there. Nothing really too much to talk about. Monet, dude, that artwork is so good. 2-drop for 3k with a 1k counter and triggers to play itself. So very similar to the carrot that we talked about a little bit earlier on in the video. I guess she's fine. Nothing really too crazy. And Daz Bones, uncommon, 2-drop for 3k with a 1k counter. Don 1, during your turn, if your leader has Baroque Works type, it gains 1,000 power for every 2 events in your trash. What? That's interesting. So it's kind of, that's kind of interesting too. So if you stack with more events, he gets stronger. This could be good. This could be really good during the late game. Like, you could make this guy like, you know, I mean, he already gets 1 Don to get the ability, so he becomes 4k and gains an additional 1,000 for every 2 events. So if you have like 4 events, he gets an additional 2k. You can go up to like 6k with a 2-drop. That's kind of good in the late game, but again, I don't know how good this guy's going to be. Bon Clay, uncommon, 3-drop for 4k with a 2k counter. Respect it, respect it. Don ×1. When he attacks, look at the top 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal a Baroque Works event card, add it to your hand, then place the rest at the bottom. That's pretty good too. I like it. Being able to just get an event card again works very well with the Baroque Works stuff. Again, it works with Missile Sunday, works well with the Crocodile Lead that we talked about a little bit earlier. Mr. 3, who's an uncommon, 2-drop for 3k, 1k counter. On play, if your leader has Baroque Works, select 1 of your opponent's character cards with 4 or less. You cannot attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. Okay, kind of just a delayer. I don't think this guy's going to see a lot of play, but it's interesting nonetheless, being able to just stop your opponent's cards from attacking. It does only say character card would cost 4 or less, so you cannot target their leader, so you know, it is what it is. Overheat. So here we have some of the event cards. So Overheat is a 2-drop and it's a counter to give 4,000 power to your leader or character. Return an active character that costs 3 or less to the owner's hand. So more utility based stuff. Blue has a lot of good utility stuff. I actually really like the blue deck. It's probably my personal favorite from what I've seen from the starter decks and from these cards that I've seen thus far. Blue looks really solid. We've got the Officer Agents. That artwork goes crazy. Common, 2-drop counter. Play a Baroque Work card with cost 3 or less from your hand. Interesting. So you can pay 2 to immediately counter to play a Baroque Works card, which I guess if they have certain on-play effects, you can get them to activate too. Actually, well, you can just use that to summon him, and on play, you can stop your opponent from attacking with certain cards. Interesting stuff. Desert Sparta. Here's an uncommon 1-drop event card counter. Your leader or character gets 2,000 power. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, place them on top. Yeah, so it works well with the Crocodile to just stack the deck in a very specific way on top of being able to, you know, get 2,000 power. And that's actually kind of like interesting too, because you activate this during your opponent's turn. You can stack the deck so you know what your turn's next draw is going to be, and you can stack it so that the top one is the one you're going to draw. The one below it, you can use your Crocodile ability to like, or the Doflamingo ability to, you know, being able to, you know, draw the right card that you want. This is super interesting. And then the trigger effect, draw 2 cards and trash 1 card from your hand. Dude, this is so good. I think the blue deck is awesome, being able to draw so many cards. Crescent Cutlass, 3-drop, counter. If your leader has 7 Warlords type, you can return a character with 5 or less to its owner's hand. And that's a counter card too. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, this card's pretty good. Not bad. So we got another event card relating to Crocodile. 1-drop. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Reveal a Baroque Works card other than this card, and then add it to your hand and place the rest at the bottom of your... Oh, if that was the top of the deck in any order, that would have been absolutely cracked. But that is not bad at all. And we're moving on to purple next. So overall, I think blue probably had my favorite set of cards. They just all look so amazing. Great synergy. It's almost like you can literally build a deck out of the cards you pull from booster set 1, just with, you know, the Baroque Works and, you know, some of the 7 Warlord stuff. Looks super solid. So now we're moving into purple. So we're finally at the final hurdle. So purple with King. It says, during your turn, it's again 5 life and 5k power. During your turn, if you have 10 Don cards on your field, give all of your opponent's characters minus 1000 power. This is the award for the worst leader in the entire game. This is really bad, because the thing about purple is, they're not going to have 10 Don that often. They have so many abilities that are focused on minusing Don back to their Don deck. So the amount of times you're ever going to get this to activate is going to be pretty minimal, at least I would think. Unless if you're running a different kind of purple deck that doesn't minus Don. I don't know, man. This seems really bad. This seems absolutely trash. Urashima, 7-drop for 9k and 1k counter base. Fine. And again, high cost character, going to be really annoying to take down. Ulti, oh my god, this artwork is nuts. Really cool. 2-drop for 3k. On play, you can rest a Don and add a card from your Don deck and rest it. Okay, so if you have 3 Don on the field, you can play rest 2 to summon this ulti, rest your 3rd one to get another one straight onto the field. It seems okay. I mean, the power is a little weak in terms of, you know, 3k is pretty bad. But to get this early game, to get more Don going, especially with the Onigashima stage card and stuff, would be kind of good. Alright, next we're going to have Kaido. So we've already seen this card being revealed before, so it's a 10-drop. Again, in purple, that's going to be kind of difficult to get. But a 10-drop for 12k. On play, you minus 6 Don, so you're only going to have 4 remaining when you play it. And if your leader is Animal Kingdom Pirates type, KO all characters other than this card. So when it hits the field, it's an absolute bomb. But remember, it does have summoning sickness. It cannot attack straight away. But during that next turn, it has 12k power. And I don't think there's any cards that we've seen in the game that immediately KO anything on the field. It's usually based on cost. And I don't think there's anything in the game that can straight up KO this, unless if you go through battle. So this is going to be very difficult to take down. But 10-drop is pretty steep, especially in purple. We got Kiyoshiro, man, that artwork goes hard. 5-drop for 6k with a 1k counter. On play, you can draw a card if you have 8 or more Don cards on the field. Again, I don't know if purple are going to be able to utilize stuff like this. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe there's ways around it. This artwork goes hard, dude. It looks so good. SR. So this is an SR for the purple. I believe Kaido's also SR. Yeah, he is. So King. 7-drop for 7k, and on play, Don -2, and KO one of your opponent's character cards with cost 3 or less, and one with 2 or less cost. So this is good against red, kind of good against green, so it's fine, but again, you're minusing 2 Don, so, and you have, it's 7-drop to play. It's going to be hard to play in purple. Again, unless if purple have crazy cards that can just supercharge their Don, I don't see purple being that good. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I have to wait and see what the meta's all about. This artwork is goofy as hell. We got Queen, who's a 6-drop for 5k with 1k power. On play, again, -1 Don. This character gains Rush and give one of your opponent's characters -2000 power during the turn. I think this is okay because this is a totally optional effect. You don't have to do it, but Don -1 to get Rush. If you really need something to die, you can, make something get -2000 power for the turn, so he has a little bit of a higher chance of killing stuff. He seems fine. Seems fine. Orochi, who's an uncommon. Wait, what was he? Was he uncommon? Okay, the queens are rare. Okay. Orochi, he's a 1-drop for 2k with 2k counter. Respect it. On play, reveal an artificial devil fruit smile from your deck and add it to your hand, then shuffle. Oh, so he's just searching the deck for an artificial smile user. Yeah, I guess there's probably going to be some of them coming up, but we'll have to have a look. Semimaru, 2-drop for 3k with 1k counter. Kurozumi type character cards, other than this guy, can be KO'd in battle. Cannot be KO'd. Okay, sure. And then Higurashi, 2-drop for 3k, 1k counter, blocker. Oh, that's annoying. Oh, man, that combo is going to be disgusting. Oh, that's going to be annoying. You can just have a block that doesn't die. Oh, that's going to suck. Okay, I see what you're doing. Sasaki, 3-drop for 4k with a 2k counter. Don 1, when he attacks, you can trash a card from your hand and add a Don from your Don deck and rest it. It's good, but again, that's the thing with purple, is they either don't have Don on the field or they have no cards in their hand. There's just the thing that purple have. They just have inherent flaws, I think, in their design, unless if there are character or event cards that can deal with that. Man, this artwork, I already memed this one on Twitter. This artwork is nuts. Look at that. Look at this Giga Chad. So, Jack is a 3-drop for 4k with 1k counter. When attacking, you can Don -1, and your opponent trashes 1 card from their hand. I don't know if this guy's going to see play. Next, we got Scratchman Apu for purple. He's a 4-drop for 6k with a 1k counter with no effect. So, 4 for 6k. Good cost curve. I don't mind that. Here we have Speed. That artwork goes crazy. God damn. So Speed is a 2-drop for 3k with a 1k counter with no effect, but it has trigger to play the card. So 3000 power. Again, it's very similar to the Carrot and the Monet that we talked about earlier. There's ways to utilize cards like this, but I'm not too sure if this is going to see play in purple. Bao Huang, I love this little art style here. It looks good. So we got 2-drop for 3k with a 1k counter. On play, choose 2 cards from your opponent's hand. Your opponent reveals those cards. I don't think it's that good because you can't do anything with them. If this was like, you know, choose 1 card and they like put it on top of their deck or put it at the bottom of the deck or something like that, I think it'd be kind of interesting. I'm not the biggest fan of this, to be honest. I just think there's just little utility for it to be actually useful. Basil Hawkins, this artwork is fantastic. It's a 4-drop for 2k, so he's very weak, but it's got a 1k counter. On play, you can add a card from your Don deck and rest it. I mean, this is good, but for a 4-drop, that's kind of harsh, honestly. He does have a trigger to automatically play. That's kind of broken if you get him to trigger from the life deck, but 4-drop for this is a little expensive in my eyes. Next, we have Babanuki, who is a 5-drop for 7k with a 1k counter. Again, good cost curve, nothing too crazy there. And here we have Hitokiri Kamazo, aka Killer, who's a 4-drop for 5k with a 1k counter. On KO, you can Don -1, KO one of your opponent's characters with 5 or less when he dies. Again, it's another Don -1 effect. I'm not a big fan of that, but it's fine, I guess. Who's Who, 2-drop for 3k with a 1k counter, Don 1. During your turn, if you have 8 or more Don cards on the field, he gains 2000 power. I don't think this is ever going to see play. I just don't think Purple have the ways to get it. Fukuro Kuju, man, that artwork is so good. Dude, Purple have like the best artworks. Even though like the cards I don't think are the best, the artworks are so good. It's a 6-drop for 8k. Why does this guy have 8k power? That's nuts. Good cost curve is fine. He's perfectly fine in my eyes. Nothing wrong there. Black Maria, I lost. 4-drop for 5k with a 1k counter, blocker, and on block you can -1 Don, and it gains 1000 power during this turn. Wait, why? I guess, maybe you go to 6k, but you have to minus a Don to do it? I don't know, guys. Not a big fan of these ones. Page 1, really nice art once again. 4-drop for 5k, 1k counter, on play, once per turn, Don -1, and it can attack active characters during this turn. That's fine. I think this is good, but again, the minus Don effects, not really the biggest fan of those. And we have Hold'em, who's a 3-drop for 4k with a 1k counter. On KO, you can add a Don card from your Don deck, and you can rest it. Yeah, I think this is fine. It just seems like all of these effects that are just adding these Don, it's unfortunate that they add them rested. So it really, allows you to, activate more abilities that are minusing Don, because you can minus your rested Don. And I don't know, man. It doesn't seem exciting enough, honestly. I just don't see how purple works right now. So Drake is a 5-drop for 5k with a 2k counter. Respect it. On play, -1 Don. Your opponent trashes a card from their hand. Again, it's fine, but it's more Don minus cards. Alright, so we're about to get to the event cards. These event cards better go hard, otherwise I'm going to be pretty disappointed. So here we have the Elephant's Machu, 4-drop. Main, KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less, then add a Don card from your Don deck and set it as active. Yeah, this is not bad, and you can trigger it to activate the main ability. So yeah, it's a main ability. You activate it during your turn to KO a low-cost character, then you get a free Don. So it's basically a 3-drop, basically, right? Basically a 3-drop card to KO something. So again, I think that's kind of expensive. A 3-drop to KO a 2 or less cost character? Seems a little weak. Artificial Devil Fruit Smile. It's a 2-drop. Main, look at the top 5 cards. Play 1 Smile character card, which costs 3 or less, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck. And you can trigger the main ability too. So it's fine if you're running the Smile characters, you know, like Hold'em, for example, who seemed pretty decent. Again, kind of interesting. Sheep's Horn. So it's a 2-drop. Main ability, -1 Don. Rest one of your opponent's characters with cost 6 or less. Fine. And you got Ulti Morta. It's a 1-drop. Counter, Don -2. Your leader or one of your characters gains +2000 during the battle. Then draw a card. I actually like this, considering how low cost it is. But then again, you have to have a Don in order to activate it during your opponent's turn. Very, very hit or miss in my opinion. But the trigger ability, you can add a Don card from your Don deck and set it as active. The trigger ability is very good. The counter effect is fine. It's just a matter of will you have the Don to spare to actually activate it during your opponent's turn. I think it's fine. I think this card's actually not terrible. We got Thunder Bagua. It's a 2-drop, and it is a counter. One leader or character gets 4000 power. Then if you have 2 or less life cards, add a Don card from your Don deck and rest it. And then the trigger effect, you get a Don card from the Don deck and you get it as active. Again, it seems fine. It's just a matter of the cost. Do you have enough cost to actually play the card? And that's going to wrap it up of all of purple. In my opinion, I think purple seems to be the weakest. I could be wrong here. I haven't seen too much gameplay of the game, but the purple cards just seemed underwhelming. In my opinion, I think blue was my favorite, then green, then red, then purple. That would have been my order. But there's 2 more cards we need to talk about before we wrap up this video, and those are the secret rares. So first of all, have a look at this artwork, guys. Boom! Look at this Shanks artwork. It looks so good. They went so hard with this Shanks, man. So Shanks is a 9-drop for 10,000 power. Now, this guy, he has Rush, so when he is played, he can automatically attack during that turn. Normally, there's Summoning Sickness where they can't attack the turn they're summoned. He can, though. And then when he attacks, your opponent cannot activate Blocker with characters that are 2000 or more power during this battle. That is insane. This guy, when he attacks, he's gonna be landing. I mean, there are a couple of blockers, I think. Is the starter deck Chopper like 1k power? I guess he can still technically block, but it says 2000 or more power during this battle. So when he attacks, it's probably gonna land, and especially if you run, I mean, he's a red character, so you have to run it in a red deck. If you're running starter deck Luffy, you can grab some of those rested Don, put it on this guy. I think the starter deck Nami also can grab rested Don, put it on this guy. 10,000 power is really hard to block, though. You need a lot of cards in order to stop that attack. Very, very good late game card in the red deck. Do I think he's going to see play? Maybe 1 to 2 of. I don't think you're going to see a lot of play with Shanks. But, you know, late game to just slap him on the field to hit face, I think this guy could potentially be good. But there's one more secret rare we need to talk about, and I think it is probably the better of the 2, and that is going to be Yamato. Everyone loves Yamato. I'm a big Yamato stan. Let's go ahead and break it down. So Yamato is a green character, 5-drop for 5k, 1k counter, by the way, which is kind of nice. Shanks did not have a counter, interesting. But Yamato, it says you can also treat this card as Kozuki Odin according to the rules. That's very, very cool. And Odin or Yamato has double attack. So when Yamato attacks, hits 2 life cards. And also Banish. when those life cards are hit, they automatically go to the trash with no effect. They don't go to the hand. No effects get activated. I think this card's going to be nuts in green. Being able to just slap it on the field when it goes to attack, being able to hit 2 life cards. Like, you just stack all of the Don on this character to be able to hit through whatever your opponent has and to just hit them and knock out 2 of their life automatically. Of course, if your opponent is on 1 life card left, it doesn't like automatically win you the game. You still have to attack past that point. But this is a very good early / mid game card to slap on the field and get the tempo back in your favor. I think this is a super good card, and I really hope that the secret rares also have alternate arts, even though like the Shanks art in particular looks fantastic. But I would love to see it just to see if Yamato also had an alt art, considering the fact that it is, you know, the same artwork as like it's anime art style. You know, it'd be cool if it was more original illustration stuff. But with all that being said, we've now gone through every single card in the set, so pretty long video this one, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Definitely let me know down below in the comment section which of the cards that we talked about were your favorites, which color is your favorite, which deck do you think you're going to be looking into first, because in my opinion the blue and green decks looked really strong. I think red has some cool stuff going on too, and look, I don't know anything about purple. People out there may have some crazy shenanigans going on with that color, but that's going to wrap it up for me. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece card game videos, make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.